Good evening, everyone. Today I am doing a live on world peace, and we're going to be asking my angel guides and spirit to bring in information concerning, are we headed for a golden age and a time of peace, or are we headed for what the Bible, as described by certain biblical teachers, is considered the age of the Antichrist? Now, the messages coming in as I was pulling was, this has been a desire. This has been manifested from the past, Nine of Cups. This is a wish fulfillment, the world peace that we're going into. It's also something that cannot be deterred except on a cosmic level. This is divine destiny, fate for our world. So something has been brought in from the higher realms. This is tremendous time of something that has been desired or something that has been orchestrated on a higher consciousness level. So we're going to take a look at that today. Thank you for joining me today, everyone. I appreciate it. Go ahead and leave me a comment in the chat. That means a lot to me, or a thumbs up. If you enjoy this, go ahead and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of the videos. I appreciate every one of you. Those of you that order readings, that book with me, that send in donations, thank you so much. So I'm pulling up my notes here. And I wrote in my email, the world is presumably unfolding in peace. Some say this is the golden age, and others say it is the beginning of the Antichrist reign from the prophecies in the book of Revelation. So I want to explain a little bit what the Protestant Christian church believes about the end times, the book of Revelation, and what this possible peace deal could mean to them. Now, just because a certain denomination has a viewpoint does not mean it's the truth. And I'm not speaking for the Catholic community because I'm not familiar with their way of thinking concerning end times. But I can share with you several teachings within the Protestant Christian community that would see this deal in the Middle East as very alarming and concerning. What it's taught in Protestant Christianity and the book of Revelation is taught that there's going to come a time of world peace, but it's fake. It's false, and it's Antichrist driven. And it's going to be brokered by a 7-year peace deal, brokered by the Antichrist in the Middle East concerning the land of Israel. And it's going to be a peace treaty or a peace deal for 7 years. And then, according to the interpretation of the prophecies by Christian religious church leaders, okay, it is prophesied by, the prediction is interpreted, let's say that. The prediction is interpreted that in the middle of that 7-year period, the Antichrist is going to come in and break that peace deal. And he's going to set up his reign. He's going to offer a pig upon the altar of Jehovah in the temple. The temple has to be rebuilt. So that hasn't occurred yet. But the temple will be rebuilt. A pig will be offered in the middle of the 7-year peace deal, which will break the deal, the treaty between the Middle East and Israel. The Antichrist is going to reign from Jerusalem. And this is just the interpretation of the Protestant Christian community. The Antichrist will be a man. He will control the entire world. It will be a global ruling under one man. He will create sacrilege in the temple of Jerusalem, and he will desecrate the religion of the Jews, that Judaism, the Judaism of the past, and he will set up a one world order or a one world government that is going to rule the entire nation. The entire world. And it's going to be led by the people of Israel. And led by this leader in Israel, I should say, and the people of Israel. Very interesting there that's coming through, led by the people of Israel. Now, the Protestant community is confused on several different areas, and this is where the rapture comes in. Hi, Calamity Jane. Carrie says the Antichrist is the media. I can totally see that. I think the Antichrist is the whole media matrix system, and that we are currently living in the beast system right now. I believe we have been going through the tribulation and through the matrix and the Antichrist system. But that's a very, a fringe. A lot of people on the fringe believe that. The mainstream Christian Protestant community believes there's going to be a 7-year tribulation, a 7-year reign in Jerusalem, a peace deal, broken by the Antichrist at 3.5 years. He's then going to rule in mass destruction in horrible situations for the next 3.5 years. Now, where the Protestant church gets discombobulated, they're not unified in their interpretation, is they believe they're called pre-tribulation people, and they believe the rapture is going to happen before we even get to that 3.5 year break and the exposure of the Antichrist. Like, we're going to be raptured, according to them, and taken out of the world before the Antichrist breaks the deal. So that's called pre-tribulation beliefs. The other one is mid-trib, meaning in the middle of those 7 years, we're going to be taken up and raptured out of that very intense situation. And then there's post-trib people, and they believe Christians or God's people, good people, are going to go through the tribulation, and then Jesus Christ as a man is going to come in the clouds. Now, everyone is looking in the Protestant Christian community for Jesus to come back in the clouds, literally in the sky, riding a white horse. Like, they're looking for a man. And God help us all if the Antichrist system mimics that, mimics an alien spaceship or an alien horse or a man coming in the sky on the clouds, because most of the Protestant Christian community be like, that's Jesus. And they believe he's going to come in the clouds. He's going to descend through the sky, etherically and physically. He's going to come and float through the sky and land on the Mount of Olives in Israel. And the Mount of Olives is going to break open, and he's going to ride in, and there's going to be saints and people on horses, and they're going to demolish all the armies of the Antichrist in the Battle of Armageddon. It's going to be some sort of warfare where all the nations of the earth are going to bring their tanks and bring their people to Jerusalem in the Battle of Armageddon. So the whole world's going to come against this man coming in the sky, Jesus coming in the sky, and Jesus is just going to flatten them. Apparently, like, nobody gets into details how he flattens and kills these people, but it's definitely an assumption that he just uses divine energy. He just kills all the soldiers. There's blood up to the horse's bridle, as the prophecy says, and Jesus is going to march into Jerusalem, and everybody is going to say, "You are God," and he's going to get on the throne in Jerusalem, and he's going to rule the world with a rod of iron, according to the prophecies. And the nations who come and bow before him are going to have good land, and they're going to have water, and they're going to have rain, and they're going to have good weather. And those that don't are going to be cursed. That is the teachings of the Protestant Christian community. And I know, because I've been to Bible school and I've believed all three different ways at some point in my life. Okay. So I totally honor those people who believe that we might have that sort of situation. But where my concern coming in, and then after Jesus comes back and he rules with a rod of iron, where does free will come into a rod of iron? Where does free will come into where Jesus says, I am now the king of the world and you all are going to serve me? Anyway, it's after Jesus allegedly rules the world from Jerusalem that we're going to have 1,000 years of peace, and that's when the millennial reign happens, and all the saints are going to rule with Christ in that 1,000 years of peace. At the end of the 1,000 years, the Bible, the interpretation of the text is oftentimes read to say Satan is going to raise his ugly head, and there's going to be a massive second battle. And then everyone that's not written in the book of life or for the good is going to be cast into the lake of fire. And the world's going to go on to a whole nother new earth. New Jerusalem's going to come down from heaven, and all that reality of not the golden age, but the new Jerusalem or the new Jupiter, like the planet Venus, the planet Jupiter, things like that. So Richard says, YouTube will not work several attempts. I did start late, so maybe that's the reason. So I apologize. But thank you for being here. Yeah, so that's the alleged Description. So where does all of this fit into what just happened in the Middle East? In the Middle East, there is a tremendous time of celebration. Mr. T's picture, along with Mr. Netanyahu and the. I apologize that I do not know the president of Egypt's name, but many world leaders' faces are up right now on billboards in the Middle East. I could show you the Facebook posts where they are celebrating the peace coming to the Middle East. I think they're celebrating a little bit more than Americans, but anyway, the American people, because so many of them do not like Mr. T, our current president, many of them are still not happy that they just aren't happy that this happened. So there's a lot of mixed emotion in the United States right now because they wanted peace, but they didn't want it to come in the way that it happened. There are another group of people that are very happy there's peace. They think that this is the golden age and now we can get on with the new quantum financial system. But there's another group of people, and that is the Christian, and a lot of them are Christians, and many of them go to church, that believe this could very well be the beginning of a possible Antichrist age, because a deal was made in the Middle East concerning peace. And it's because of the interpretation of the biblical texts that people are saying, wait 3.5 years, we're going to enter the tribulation. I sure hope we get raptured before then, or get your food and get your water, get your guns and your ammunition, because the Antichrist is coming. So there's just a myriad of emotions going through, especially United States Americans, United States citizens, concerning this peace deal. What I want to do is put it all aside and get a perspective from Spirit just to read the energy of certain things. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask as well. Put them in the chat. But my first question that I have is, what is the energy of this peace deal? Is it for the good of humanity? Were the intentions set right? Is humanity going to benefit from this? Is this truly a humanitarian evolution, humanitarian progress for the world? We're just doing a general energy of this peace deal. Spirit, what can you tell us about the energy of this peace deal? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, we have the Knight of Wands, which is military. We have the Tower card, but the Tower card is upside down. It came up upside down. So it's a reverse Tower situation. It's dealing with a very traumatic situation in the Middle East. We have the blank card for the past. And this is telling me, the blank card is telling me that we do not truly know everything that's happened or happening or led up to the traumatic, the Tower moments of the Middle East conflict. The world hasn't even begun to understand what happened in the Middle East. It's not even fathomable. It's not even glimpsed on the media system. There's not even snippets there's no conspiracy theories that has truly tapped into what truly is occurring in the Middle East or what has led up to until now. The current situation is a yes in answer to my question. This is new land, new opportunity, and a yes card, Ace of Pentacles. This is saying that this is for the good of humanity, and it is positive and is going to bring resources to the land. The future cards is there's still further strategies needed in place. There's still a lot of negotiations needed. I don't know why I am seeing, well, it's a 7 weeks, 7 months, or 7 years, but I'm definitely getting the number from this card. So negotiations might continue for the next 7 weeks, even if not, because of the lack of truly knowing what has been there. What has been in Gaza, what has been underneath Gaza, what's been in Israel, what's been underneath Israel, what's been in Sinai, what's been underneath Sinai, what's been in Egypt. Something something is a lot more complicated than we realize, and it might take from 7 weeks to 7 years to truly sort out everything in the Middle East. But we do have a military takeover of something. I'm getting that message. The military, someone's military took over something. Finances, and I'm seeing underground coffers of gold and silver, a financial squeeze. The white hat military, I believe, came in and began squeezing dark forces and the dark elite intelligences of their money, removed their money supply. The world card, it's been overhauled. The entire, I hear the word gutting. We gut the intelligence system. We gut their financial system. We gut it. And this again would be the underground system. This is definitely the underground networks, not just the secret networks of the hidden way they operated, but literal underground tunnels. And once again, stolen money, stolen resources. In fact, even humans. Okay. So basically, what we're seeing from this peace deal, it's really a sign that the white hat military went in and have fully overcome the challenges of the dark elite in the underground facilities and the underground, just the underground nefarious systems within Israel and Gaza. Okay. Richard says the Antichrist is AI, and after the bifurcation of the timelines, good and bad, in 1,000 years, we fight the final battle. A lot of mystics are fully agreeing to the timeline. They're agreeing to an Antichrist system, just like you said. They're agreeing to the different timelines. They're agreeing to 1,000 years of peace. They see it, like they can feel it and they can see it. But it's just maybe not so materialistic. The Antichrist, I do believe, is AI and the intelligent entities within AI that actually think for themselves. That's a very good point. Okay, so basically back to Israel. I believe the people of Israel were put into a tight position and had to negotiate with Mr. T first. And then part of the negotiation and the takeover within the land of Israel and Gaza, the peace deal is literally coming in as an after effect, as a side effect. It was part of the negotiation. Like, you have to stop this, and this, or we're going to squeeze you and you're going to have no more resources. Oh, and by the way, there's going to be peace in Gaza. So I'm not getting that the peace in Gaza was the complete focus of the white hats or the good military. There was a lot more involved, like this blank card says, and the human population have no clue. Can you tell us, Spirit, or is this still blocked? Okay, independence. It was an independent organization, nefarious group that was involved. I'm hearing the words, their name is not known. Their name is not known in our ears today. This was such a deep, dark, CABAL, dark elite nefarious group that was playing Gaza against Israel. They was literally so deeply entrenched and secretive that their name is not even known in conspiracy circles. That's how secretive this dark elite organization was. And they were playing the Middle East like a violin. They were playing, this is a very secretive organization that was pulling strings. Israel and Gaza were their puppet. And that is why we shouldn't even take sides between Gaza and Israel or between any Middle Eastern country and Israel. I refuse to take sides, regardless of what's written, even in ancient texts about which nation is more superior. For us to interpret a text as if some nation is more superior than another nation, that's racism. It's racist to say Israel are the people of God and deserve more more support than the women and children in Gaza who are maybe from the lineage of Lebanon. It doesn't matter, right? So I have to call out what I once was, believing that the people of Israel were superior to other people. They're not. Neither do the people in the Middle Eastern countries get extra benefits because they're the victim. Like, oh my goodness, Israel has been beating up on them for so long, and all these other organizations are taking advantage. So we've got to just run over all the other good people and all the other, just like taking money from the taxpayers to give to the drunkard who won't work a day in his life but spends his money on booze. It's that concept. Like, no, we're not going to steal from the taxpayers and give it to the drunk who refuses to get a job and simply drinks his money away. So just because somebody's in a more poverty position doesn't mean they shouldn't be treated equally like every other free human being with the same accountability, responsibility, and guidelines, policies that free people receive. So I feel that taking sides to any nationality is racism. And I do want to go out on a limb and say the biblical texts and the interpretation of some of the biblical texts have been some of the most racist documents for the United States of America. And it's because back when it was written 2,000 years ago, things like slavery, things like nations taking another nation to war and capturing them and putting them into slavery, that was very common because it was a low consciousness density in our civilization. So one nation would go to war with another nation and they won, and they took their women and their children and held them captive and made them slaves. That was accepted, okay? And it was accepted to go and to take from one nation and enslave another nation. It was bonds and and those where you work for your bonds, you work for your debts, you become their slave to pay off a debt. That's how they did debt forgiveness or debt repayment, is you worked for your debt as a slave, even in the land of Israel. Now, the God Jehovah told the children of Israel in the Old Testament, you can't make each other slaves from war, but you can take slaves of other nations. And there were certain phrases in the Bible that said, you can treat certain people a certain way of another nation, but you can't treat your people that way. So it basically began differentiating. Oh, and they also said, whoever curses you will be cursed and whoever blesses you will be blessed. And it just put like a very racist type of mentality of we are God's superior people. Sort of like the Christians that think they're the only ones going to heaven. So anyway, I am going out on a tangent and I apologize. But I once believed this. I once believed that Israel was God's chosen people. I believe every person is God's chosen people, and that we should be treated on a sovereign, spiritually free, and I keep saying free, a freedom mindset, a free will basis. Every person should be dealt that way. Okay, but I digressed. I want to ask now about the Antichrist system. I just want to ask the energy here about, is this an Antichrist 7-year deal before the tribulation? Are things going to get worse after this peace deal, or are things actually going to get better? So let's ask Spirit. Thank you. All right. Spirit, is the Antichrist system, I want to ask, is it growing because of this deal, or is it collapsing because of this deal? Let's reframe it that way so we get the energy of that. Okay, we have Temperance card, which is healing. We have the King of Cups, which is a king, and then we have a victory. So this is giving me the concept of a victory in a gentle negotiation. a positive negotiation. We have the Temperance card, which is balance. We have the Sun card, which is the golden age. And we have the Wheel of Fortune coming in again, which says this cannot be stopped. Humans cannot stop this very beautiful transition that's happening. This has been written in the stars. It's been written in Earth's book of life and in the Akashic records. Now is the time to bring this peace deal in. And I just want to get further confirmation. The Fool card, a brand new beginning. 10 of Cups, very positive for humanity. And Death card. This is a death and a rebirth for the entire world landscape. This is changing the way nations look at other nations. This is changing the way humanity will look at one another. This is hope for humanity. This is a brand new way of doing things. This is the first card of the deck, the Fool card, where you can leave everything behind and launch out into something new, and people call you a fool because you dare to do something totally new. You dared to end the war. You dared to do what's good, to bring celebration for humanity, to put aside your personal kingly agendas, your personal world leadership, money grabbing, corruption. I'm going to do this and make money off of it. You're going to lay aside everything and go for the good of humanity. There's the family, the cups, the celebration, the secure and happy home, and then the death and rebirth. This is going to trigger a lot in the world. This is going to trigger. Thank you, Shauna. I appreciate it. This is going to trigger a lot of changes, this peace deal. So I want to ask, was this a galactic, angelic, or even ascended master deal? Was this a blueprint given to humanity and then they tell the timing? Or was this related to human white hats? Okay, we got a yes card that fell out and an off-world. I didn't even shuffle fully, and the off-world card comes out and the yes card. And I'm hearing the words, they all did it. This is a massive operation from an intergalactic, interstellar, angelic. I heard someone say there's 3 different beings. There's the galactics, which are more planetarian. They're more of different civilizations parallel to Earth. Then there's angelics, which are the forces and beings of God for Earth. So picture like a funnel where creator source consciousness brings in the angelics and the ascended masters go with that, okay? But the galactics are like parallel. They're other civilizations. And then there's celestials, and the celestials would be the seraphim, the dragons, those that are like higher consciousness, and they have the higher civilizations like up in source consciousness. So I really like that perception. So some of us, like the Pleiadians and the Arcturians, they're connected to different planetary systems, different realms, the different moon realms. But then the angelics are like totally dedicated to Christ energy and the earth realm. But then I do know that they have different help on different areas as well, different realms, different planes. Some people say the Pleiadians are archangels. So I don't know all of that, but I do know that there are certain archangels and angels that are dedicated to Earth. The ascended masters are dedicated to Earth, but the galactics tend to be more, they're dedicated to their own realms first, and they come to assist Earth. That's how I understand it, at least. Will it even hold, Shauna says. First of all, there is a system here that there's going to be a lot of triggers, like a lot of death and rebirth situations where things are going to need to keep dying and rebirthing for this deal to stick. I also get that there was a golden age energy coming in, which was the Sun card. I do get that this was given by many of the celestial and angelic and galactic beings. This is part of their off-world plan. Let's see, before I go on to the next one, is this going to continue? Is this peace deal going to remain strong? Okay, so the answer is there's going to be a time in the near future where the peace deal is not going to stick completely. This is a temporary pause card. It's going to appear like a temporary pause on the peace deal. This conflict is in the past. We are getting a surrender and a darkness, a surrender of the darkness. So what Spirit's saying is not all the dark ones and not all the darkness have fully surrendered yet. There's still going to be some temporary pauses to this peace deal. Then we have the High Priestess card coming in, okay? So I want to see what this future energy coming in, and I'll try to get a time frame too. The Empress card. Okay, some sort of queen, mother, queen energy, feminine energy is going to come in. Is this a woman or is this an energy? Because there seems to be a queen arising, a woman of power arising, which is going to manipulate and take control. Good, positive manipulation. Take control of the situation and provide a choice or a secondary negotiation. Spirit, what is this? The World card. Another negotiation is coming in, and then a victory. Okay, so what I would get from this is the dark pockets are still going to raise their ugly head and attempt to create WAR. There are still pockets of dark elite out there that are going to break the peace deal. That's what I'm getting. Some sort of energy, possibly a female figure, is going to arise. Possibly, okay? I don't want to make a prediction, but there's definitely something with a feminine energy and another deal of negotiation that's going to completely solidify and end the conflict once and for all. Can I have a time frame, please? And this could be a feminine energy in Earth, like a dragon energy or a celestial energy that just is an energy coming to Earth. This could even be Mother Earth frequency herself keeps troubling the darkness until it's completely exposed. Until it exposes itself. But any other thing clarifying this peace deal, Spirit? The Lovers, politics, the people, and Page of Wands. I'm seeing the words appropriate division. I believe politics is going to continue for a good long time, if not another month at least. Time frame, Spirit, give me a time frame. Queen of Wands. Yeah, the wands are fast moving, but this would definitely be a month or two. Well, about a month or the end of the year, but definitely I'm getting a month. Definitely a month. Watch for things to get shaky, but there is angelic and galactic support to finalize this peace deal. Something's coming in to help finalize it. But expect the darkness to break it and even try to recreate it. Okay. All right, let's pull really quick on what is the... I just maybe I shouldn't pull on that. I want to pull on how controlled is that region, how much is that region still under the control of the dark elite? I just want to ask Spirit, can you give us the percentage or a divide the pie into 4 parts? If we had to determine what was white hat controlled and what was still under dark hat controlled, Spirit, what can you show us about the Middle East in the Gaza and Israel region? How much is under white hat and how much is under the darkness? The Fool card and healing. Okay, this is good. Let me get the rest of the Death card. Okay, temporary, and then the surrender. And this is humanitarian aid. Yeah, humanitarian aid will come. regardless of the pockets of disruption. Humanitarian aid is already on the way, if not already there. What I'm getting here is that the white hats and the good people do have the majority of the country. This is almost full possession. I have 0 qualifying cards. This would represent full possession. And I'm seeing the roadways, especially like the ability to move troops. The roadways are under full possession. I don't think it's possible for them to truly start a WAR as full scale. I think there will be pockets of conflict, but this is a brand new land. This is a brand new arena. This is like a breath of fresh air. And I think it's because they have the roadways. There will still be surrenders coming up in the future. Is the deal stemming from the good Trump or the deep state Trump? Good question. Let's see. I'm going to switch decks. We're just going to get the energy, fresh energy from another deck. Is this deal coming from the good Mr. T or a deep state controlled Mr. T? Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Two of air, 5 of water, messenger of water, 5 of fire, and the 2 of fire. In the back, that is the surrender card. Okay. 2 of air is a block card, or there is a double. Okay. That would be the double, and it's negative. A double negative. The double negative here has been captured or apprehended by the white hats, the intelligent community. I'm sorry, the military. That's my military card. It has been contained. 8 of fire. Some of the dark Mr. T, the controlled Mr. T, some of his posts, some of his information, some of his communications are still out in public. Okay. But I'm getting right here, the dark one, the dark double is either in hiding or in apprehension. Here's the Mr. T card in this deck. Queen of Earth and 6 of Air. Interesting. Queen of Earth and the 6 of Air. So there's definitely been a handler attached to this Mr. T, and he's been moved out of the way. This queen could represent a handler, a person, possibly a woman, that actually took out and that was controlling the persona of a false Trump. Does that make sense? I'm getting here. Is this fake? Is this an actual human? And right now there's a skunk smell coming through my window. It's strong. Full card. Yeah, there's a brand new energy here. And the 4 of water, negotiation, talks. Okay. Yeah, the energy I'm getting from, I'm just going to say it the way it is. There was a negative double. And the negative double is either under deep duress or his persona is being challenged and investigated by a military system. But there is the potential that some of the information coming from a double is still trickling out to society. Does that make sense? Like there could be a woman that's keeping the persona going. A queen. Okay, the wife of maybe a past U.S. president. Or the entity controlling the wife that starts with H, whose middle name is R, and whose last name ended up to be C. Something like that, like a queen that was running the persona of a false Mr. T, but it's definitely does not have as much power anymore. So is the deal stemming from the good Trump? Let's just go ahead and ask that. Is the deal coming from, oh, we got one card flipped out, the Tower card. So that's the, something forced their hand to do this quick. Something forced this deal to happen quickly. What was this? So when we ask the question, I got it now. I got you, Spirit. Spirit says, where was this deal coming from? The Mr. T did not come up with say, okay, let's go do a deal. Something happened in the universe to trigger something. And the US said, we've got to do a deal fast. And that's what the universe is telling me. Something triggered the need for this deal. And that's what this is. A fake. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay. The thing that was coming through where President Trump says we need to get a deal done fast was the threat on an international community level for a major world war. The dark elite was planning to take resources, blow things up, betray major deals, betrayal, 3 of air, 3 of swords, conflict, 4 of air, war, fake, false flag, using resources, stealing resources to create a brand new scenario, ace of water, possibly in the Gulf of some sort of Mediterranean Sea or some sort of land, water. They were possibly planning to blow something up. And they were going to use the war in Israel and Gaza and trigger it from what was already going on there, blow it up, and try to send the world into World War III in order to take back control of the Matrix. And that's what triggered certain white hats to say, get the deal done now, so that if anything happens, there's peace in the Middle East and they cannot use any conflict to do their bidding and make a false flag, a ship blowing up somewhere, into a massive world war. It was like, let's get the peace deal made so that they cannot ping off of the conflict in Gaza. Does that make sense? It seems the bull run isn't going to happen until something like this is resolved. Yeah, you're talking about the crypto market. Got you. Oh, let me go back. What is the connection between peace in the Middle East and the crypto market and the bull run? I assume there is a connection. I believe that there is because I saw it earlier in the card pull. And I've been feeling it, Shauna. I've been feeling like we're not going to get much major support until we calm our world down. We get nations and military to sit down, to stand down. It's actually part of Nasara. Okay, but let's ask Spirit. What is the connection between peace in the Middle East and the crypto market? A brand new ace fell out, the brand new energy. They need the world to be ready for this. They need the world to be new and reset. 4 of Earth, the crypto market could possibly have been controlled by I don't want to make allegations here, but by certain nefarious underground organizers within the nation of Israel, if you follow my drift, okay? Certain people playing the strings of Israel, not the Jews, not the Israelis, not the people, but the organizations like the Jesuits or that kind of secret global cabal organization. That kind of organization was controlling finances from the Israeli capacity. What is the connection between peace in the Middle East and the crypto market? No tangents, Spirit. Just answer the question. Okay, we got financial happiness and financial stability coming in. 9 of Earth, that's the future and that's the goal. The cards surrounding it and where we're at right now is 3 of Fire, which is moving toward a massive upgrade and up-leveling of the crypto market. Massive price hikes. Massive. Okay, and this is also a judgment call. saying it's time to stop the manipulation of the markets. And I believe key cabal factors were manipulating it from across the seas. The center of the reading is negotiations are going on right now. Right now, we've already done a tremendous transformation. Certain prices have already been determined. They're ready to skyrocket. What's waiting is that there are still negotiations being made with the people who manipulated our money. The money on earth is not yet cleaned up. Just because we have peace in Israel does not mean all the systems that the darkness put in place isn't cleaned up. What Spirit's saying is they haven't cleaned up all the money systems yet. And that's why they cannot let it go. What the peace deal in Israel is doing is it allowed the white hats access into the deeper, darker coffers of the Middle East, where this deep, dark, dank organization that was pulling the strings and trying to cause a third world war, that organization is being taken down. And that's who had a lot of fingers, octopus legs into the financial system. So I hope that makes sense. Via Wall Street. For the record, Shauna says, I don't believe any Nasara Jasara exists. Got you. I think that it once was a plan of the White Hats, but it's changed and it's no longer going to be called that. But the National Emergency and Something Act was an act, I think, in 2000 and 1990. It was put out by our U.S. Army generals. And there was a time when alleged that President Clinton, the U.S. military went to President Clinton and would have forced him at gunpoint to possibly accept the Nasara Act for the USA. Like, that is a real act, but it's kind of been put on hold. What people call Nasara and Jasara now is like the golden age, but I don't think anyone really understands the financial system because it is the best kept secret. And so I fully agree with you. I think that something's definitely changed. But via Wall Street. So I'm really curious to see how it all turns out. Via Wall Street, via the tentacles of the financial system, it's still not completely cleaned up. But this peace deal allows the White Hats to get into the systems within Israel and help start negotiations and clean things up. And I think each country is going to have their own way of bringing in a new financial system. I don't think it's going to be global anymore. If we go global, like Jasara, Global Emergency Act, we're tapping into a new world system, a new world order. Richard says, shut down all narratives going forward to shape the world outcome for the good. We know how to play that game now. So true. So true. We have to turn off the narratives and just manifest the peace. Manifest the reality. All right, what's my last question? Is the true history of Israel and Gaza known? And can you give us a glimpse of the true history? Just a peek, Spirit. Just a peek. Just a peek. So I'm going to say it as it comes to me and as the cards unfold. There was a leader over 3 geographical locations in the Middle East. War occurred. Famine and disease spread across the land. A lot of people were captured. From there, the history began to be reformed. Many were moved across the country, to other nations, other world leaders. They were secretly placed into other locations. Then there were new negotiations formed over this land, partnerships. And they decided to make it something different. Yeah, they began reforming the boundaries of the land, including the water. They began actually rewriting certain things, including the shorelines and the way the water was orchestrated. Something about water, something about the shorelines of the Mediterranean, rewriting the geographical boundaries. I'm getting that there's a lot more water over the true land. Like the shoreline is different. Weather, tsunamis, something recreated the land. Underground tunnels were formed. This is belonging to like Rome and the catacombs, only they're underneath Jerusalem as well. Many people lived in underground cities or underground locations in this land, and they developed even a new civilization and new leadership. The good people went underground into a new civilization, like think underground cities to survive, but they were for the good of humanity. The true people that were for the good of humanity in this region aren't even there. And I almost believe the true Jews aren't even there, or the true people who dwelt in that land aren't even there. We have a desire and a wish. We have a desire to move in and recreate. We have the devil card and the earth card, the boundaries of the land, the creation of Mother Earth. Something was taken over, and it's definitely not for the good of humanity. It felt like the nefarious beings created infrastructure on top of it, while the good history of the land, they went underground. There could very well be underground cities underneath Gaza and Israel, and that could very well be why there's so much war, is because they're fighting for access to maybe even certain, I don't know, portals, certain land rights, because the true wealth might be underneath it. That's just what I'm getting. Something was faked. Something was faked. It was manipulated in a brand new geographical location, and possibly even a brand new history was formed concerning the land of Israel. So that's just a glimpse there. But the true people that hold the vibration of that land, I don't think they're there. I don't think anybody right now that's there is the true people that were there through the thousands and thousands of years in our past. Portals. Yeah. I'm really seeing like the ability for humans to like create those they have like the holograms of like it's the face of a rock, but it's a hologram and you can walk through it, right? And you have to have a certain frequency code to walk through it, otherwise you're just going to bounce off the hologram and you're going to possibly be electrocuted. Things like that kind of technology. Like think Tartarian, only it's the early Hebrew if they were Tartarians. It's very, very good, authentic people. Something is definitely faked about that land. Yeah, it was likely not the real story of Jesus, Shauna says. The Bible, there's definitely something about, I have never been called to go to the Holy Land. I just feel like I don't know what's there that's calling me. And a lot of people, when they walk onto the Holy Land, they see the sacred sites, they say they feel nothing. Christians. Now, they're not always super intuitive or super emotional, but, they're not known for psychic abilities, but they say, I walked there and it just was like, okay, there's the well of Bethesda where Jesus washed, healed this man. And then this is where, he was born, and they don't feel any magical presence. And I said, I think something might not be completely true. Doesn't mean it might not be in some other area of, it might be underneath the Mediterranean Sea, But anyway, recently I heard that Jesus came to Israel, wasn't from Israel. That the documents, the book of Bartholomew, the book of Thomas, I think I've read both, I believe that was their names, said that he actually grew up in northern Egypt and possibly even Ireland and the Celtic lands. It's like, whoa. And then he came to Israel after his family moved back. About cleaning up the surface dwellers, aka humans, who are the key to dominance going forward from slave to king. I agree. There's definitely something about they wanted to control the surface dwellers. And from what I get in the cards, it's just a surface pull. It's just a quick pull, but what I see is like the part of the war over this land is because they literally are fighting for some sort of crazy either civilization to access or portals or some sort of control, because maybe whoever dwells there is going to connect with these people. There's a reason why they're fighting. There's a reason. Thank you. Sana says you'll send me this transcript. I would love to read that. All right. I think I missed one of your questions though. Will the end of the war result in the Vatican taking a hit, assuming the same controllers are involved? And I'm assuming you mean that place in Israel, Vatican, right? Assuming the same controllers are involved. Okay, we have the system. So it's a system at this point. It's not so much a group of people. It's a major system. Spirit's giving me the energy, and now involves a lot of people. So will the end of the war result in the Vatican taking a hit? Okay, there's going to be two kinds of... Okay, let me finish. Okay, yeah. So here, okay, wow. There's actually two types of militaries right now within the Vatican. There's two side by side. One of them is white hat related, and they're side by side with the dark ones that have been in the system. So I'm not getting the ones that are there currently are all that. They aren't they were not the ones who created the agenda, okay? They're just placed there under the old system. The white hats are running side by side concerning the Vatican within that system. And they're sort of providing an oversight. It's already been taken over, Wheel of Fortune, all right? And it's going in the future to go through a visible transformation in its system. So the public will see it. It's already been taken over, though. There are two, and I got this when I pulled on the Pope. There are two military organizations, and they are side by side, and the white hats are in the Vatican. Okay, they're in the Vatican. And my friend went to the Vatican expecting to feel a lot of dark energy, and she says, I felt blah. It felt empty. It felt cold. It felt like there was no energy there. So that makes sense. The next card that fell out is the Justice card. So yes, there will be justice amidst the transformation and making it possibly into a brand new kind of organization. I believe this change of the history of the Middle East, and this is what's coming into me right now, what's happening for peace is going to trickle to the Vatican, and it's going to be connected to documents, information, the white hat materials, the Dead Sea Scroll type materials that are coming up. And I think a lot of the history of the Middle East is tied to or has been hidden in the Vatican. That's just what's coming through here, especially Middle East history, because they covered it up and they needed a place to put all the documents. So I hope that helps. They needed a place to put the documents because nobody really knows about the magicalness of that land. But I think most of the magic is underwater. I to be honest, from these cards, I feel that if Jesus did walk through Israel, the area is now underwater. Shauna says he came to Israel from the north and covered a lot of territory before coming to Israel, having collected his apostles before even arriving there. So they are all from different places, which makes sense because they all went to different places when he died or when his ministry ended in the public. I do believe that he was murdered and crucified. I do believe that. And I also do know that the CIA time traveled to that period, and they have records of seeing a crucifixion that was Jesus. And I also believe that Jesus was an ascended master who embodied energy and died so that others could embody the energy as well, sort of like a C. Kirk moment. The world has just changed. But that's my personal belief. I totally understand if people don't believe he actually died, but after seeing the CIA documents and the father and hearing the testimony, the father was shocked. He's like, that's crucifixion, because the CIA did not believe Jesus died on the cross. So they time traveled through the looking glass technology. And he was a boy. He was like a 6-year-old boy that was sent through their technology to go see the time of Jesus to disprove it. And they weren't able to. So that's just an interesting piece of information I'll put out there. But yeah. But I also get a lot of timelines with Jesus when I pull on him. Like different timelines happened. He wasn't murdered, but someone else was, and he left and went back to the Alti Mountains. Okay. So I would love the information on that. I do know that a lot of people did do some, what you call that, hypnosis on different people who lived in that timeline and that actually saw certain events. And that's how most of Jesus's life is being put together. The Dolores Cannon work. I read her book about the person who was a teacher, a personal teacher, an Essene teacher to Jesus. And her testimonies when she was out of consciousness about Jesus and John the Baptist were powerful. It was gorgeous. And I can't remember what her testimony was, if he died or not, as a hypnotherapist. But there's a lot of people traveling back to that timeline and that believe that no, he didn't. I firmly believe that if he came back ascended, and he became an ascended master, and so he could disappear so he could still live on Earth. I tend to resonate with that. Like, what if he did go and live in southern France with his mother, but then he just lived an ascended life and he could disappear? Yeah, it's so fascinating exploring that. All right, everyone. A lot of the Bible was made up. Matthew never existed. Interesting. Someone was crucified in his place, she says. That's why people thought he was resurrected, because they didn't see him after those events, and other people's interpretation. Yeah, there was actually a conspiracy theory in the time, and that's actually what the Jews perpetrated from the Bible text. The Jews told they perpetrated the information. Pilate, the Hebrew leadership, the Roman leadership got together, and this is from biblical text, and did say, no, he really didn't die. He really existed. So there is those theories out there as well. Ask if this is an overall timeline war, like Daniel, when you know all event horizons and you can game out the conclusion successfully. I do get multiple timelines with Jesus. I do, like different scenarios played out. So is this a timeline war? Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like it might have been patched to be one reality into another reality so that we could heal certain timelines. Or maybe the Dark Ones split a timeline. Was there a timeline war concerning the life of Jesus or the land of Israel? Oh my God, we have the Hierophant card, which is the Cabal. First card out, travel. Ace of Air, to your question, Richard, yes. 3 of Water, we're getting multiple groups. And we are getting CIA type technology or information. CIA, like the collapsing of, like the looking glass and all the kinds of playing with time or playing with, this is intelligence. I'm getting something was manipulated, but it came from the dark side. It didn't come from the side of light. So there was a timeline war. Will we ever find out the truth? I believe we will. It just might be 100 years from now. His name was also not Jesus or even Yeshua. It's so interesting that, I've been in the church and we get really crazy when we were in the church and we do that, call upon the name of Jesus. The name of Jesus never had any power for me. I'm sorry to say that. Maybe this is why I don't have many people on my channel. The name of Jesus didn't have the power. Like the name that I use is Christ. Like the Christ, I consider the life force energy, Christ consciousness, the mind of Christ, the Christ energy. And so I work with Christ energy, like fill me with Christ energy. And I just consider that the life force of source consciousness creator that comes into our solar system. I believe the Christ energy is the Christ of our earth and our solar system. And other solar systems might have other beings and other realities or other energies. But like Christ to me was what every ascended master embodied to be able to ascend. So when I work and I say my prayers in the name of Christ, I can actually feel energy throughout my body. But for decades, they would say, in the name of Jesus, Jesus, the sweetest name that I know. And nothing ever happened. But when we called on divine light or Holy Spirit or Christ Jesus, we use the name of Christ, there would always be like certain miraculous things in the room. They would be miraculous, like there might be some people might start crying and get relief from an addiction, or we might have a miracle, or someone might start prophesying, or someone might get healed. And so I just thought it's very interesting when you say the name Jesus was not what it was supposed to be, because I have never. Now, the ascended being Jesus, I can connect to, but it's totally different than what we would view of in the church. Yeah. The energy of that being. I have to connect to the energy of the being of that man who walked, and I can't just connect to the name Jesus. Does that make sense? I have to clairvoyantly connect to his energy, and he's a very strong teacher energy. Are you able to ask if he is from the north, not from Israel? Can you ask if his name was even Jesus or Yeshua? Richard says the truth is not for everyone, so says Q, but will be there for those that seek. Yes. Yeah, let me divide it first into one. Is he from another land? Let's just ask, is he from a northern land or from another land? So cards are flipping out here. Another land, just another land. Independence. Independent would mean yes. And this is the independent card is so it is an independent land of Israel. The Four of Earth is not telling me if it's from the north. This is a more secretive, secluded people, protected community. He's in my MacBook is about to fall asleep soon. So if my live goes out, I just want to say goodbye to you all. I need to gap my cord here. But yeah, he's from a different land and from a very protected community. And I'm getting there was no nation he was connected to. I feel that this is confirming the Essenes
Alert from
movement.
low battery.
Yeah, underground. My God, underground. Let me get my charger if I can find it. Baby. Yeah, he could have been from the real Essene community underground. And come to think about it, Dolores Cannon said there was oh my goodness, I forgot this. In the book I read, channeled by the hypnotherapist lady who went under hypnosis, she said there was a group of Essenes that went underground and a group that stayed above to help humanity. That's what this is reminding me of. There's an underground, and then there was an independent group, and it has nothing to do with nations. So yes, the possibility that he came from the north is definitely possible. What spirit has given me the energy of is it was not connected to a physical nation of this world. All right, Druids in Alti Mountains. Yes or no, Spirit? Is this Druids in the Alti Mountains? Can you tell me where those Alti Mountains are located, Shauna? Like what location today? Because I'm curious. Was he from the Druids in the Alti Mountains, or I might not be seeing it right, but Altai? First card, I'm getting a no, so I don't think that's where he was born, but he did go there and had a massive awakening there. So I don't think he was born there, but he had a massive teaching ministry or a massive awakening there. Southern Russia. Okay. All right. So I hope that Altai in southern Russia near Mongolia, Eastern. Interesting. Eastern traditions. The Eastern traditions were very heavy in the Essene community. I have one more question. It says, can you ask if his name was even Jesus or Yeshua? So Jesus, was his name Jesus? Yes or no? We're just going to pull the energy. In some parts of the world, that was what his name was translated to. It was an authentic name, but only in certain regions where he came from, or with, or in, or lived in. He possibly came from another region and had another more authentic name at birth. Does that make sense? Okay. Was his name Yeshua? Was his name Yeshua? In his travels. Why am I getting in other parts of the world and it was a code name? I think he lived under code names. I don't think it was his true name at birth or his true frequency, which is why I could never connect to him through his name. Sorry, I'm learning. I'm learning as I go through this. Okay, you didn't say he was born there. Okay, interesting. He definitely was there and had like a massive spiritual awakening near the border of Kazakhstan. Didn't say, okay, but he's not Jewish too. Ask if Melchizedek was a teacher of the one known as Jesus. Is that Melchizedek? Are you talking about Melchizedek? Yes. Okay, perfect. No, you're good. Melchizedek was a teacher of the one known as Jesus. Was Melchizedek. So not that you're saying, are they the one and the same? Was Melchizedek Jesus? Was Melchizedek a teacher of who we know of as Jesus? Yes or no, Spirit? King. That's a person. That's a masculine figure, but it's not always a teacher. And then we have the card of Matrix and no, and then the King of Water. Interesting. I guess I need to ask, what was the relationship of Melchizedek to Jesus? Now, the Bible says that Jesus was in the priesthood of Melchizedek, or the Melchizedek royal priesthood. So what was the relation of Jesus to Melchizedek? We just keep getting these are ascended masters. Okay, Melchizedek was a magician. Think Merlin. That gave a lot of energy and might have been an ascended master teaching Jesus. But I am not getting that there was an actual connection between them as humans. Does that make sense? If he was a teacher, he was ascended and like Buddha, like he was like a Buddha to Jesus. And he energetically taught him like the magician Merlin, but it was not, and he was a real person. But in the time where the man, as we know of as Jesus, lived, was Jesus' real name Radomir. He had a lot of different names. Okay, he had a lot of different names, but we're getting it was just one. It was not his birth name. We get the no card with the 3 of air, and then we have one of many. And then we have the mother. So his mother named him something different. Okay. It's a team. It's an energy. Interesting concept. Was Jesus a team of people? And they made him into a man. Was it a group of people that they identified as a man? Let's just ask. Messenger of Earth would be an intelligent group. High Priestess is a secret. And then you got an ace card, which would be a yes. It was a representative of a group. And they took one representative and made it as if it was the entire Son of God. So what I'm getting from this is that, and this coincides with the teachings of the Roman Catholic Church, is they took a persona and kind of formed some things into a man so that a man could be worshipped. But a lot of what happened during that time was the group of people who operated as one, and they were a secret group, and they attributed all their anger or all their co-creation abilities to try to make a religion, and they attribute it to one man, because it's harder to worship a group than it is to worship a man. And that is where it fell apart. Was there a ascended master who I feel lived during that time and did the miracles? Absolutely. But this is what it gets. So did Mary Magdalene walk alongside him and do the miracles. So did the disciples. Like, so many men in these Essenes and women were trained to go out and heal. And there's even a phrase in the Bible where Jesus trained 70 men and sent them throughout the entire nation of Israel and surrounding areas, and they did miracles. 70. Why do we just hear, okay, Jesus trained 70 people and sent them out to do miracles, and then all of a sudden we don't hear of those 70 people again? And we don't see any of the 12 disciples doing any miracles. None of the 12 disciples did miracles when they were with Jesus. So what if it was that group of 70? And they simply attributed it to the community of the Essenes and the works that they did. And they gave it to one man, and then had all of religion worship that one man or those few saints. And they used that worship of a man or a saint to gain control over a population that was going and heading into the Dark Ages. And Judas also didn't exist. Did Judas exist? Was Judas a real man? So we've got the 8 of water, which is the leaving card. We get the ace of water and the page of water. So yes, there was a betrayal man or a betrayal spirit there, but it's not the same story. That part of the story I'm getting is fake. But there was a real persona considered like a Judas, but the story we have is fake. So the story was left behind. The true story was left behind. If we are all the sons of God and lost our way, how could that be known? And would Jesus be the one who showed the way via many others, helping the transformation come about? Yep. It's just interesting, like that whole concept of we're all the sons of God, but we've all lost our way. And how do we find our way? And they simply, yeah. But that is my opinion. So I just want to share, if you do believe differently and you're watching on the replay, I truly respect your opinion. And I could change my opinion in the next 6 months. Regarding Mary Magdalene, Jesus is the the Achilles heel of the human condition. So true. So true. Yeah, and it's so. Yeah, no, I'm not getting Shauna. His energy is not a disciple. I'm not getting a disciple. That's just raw energy. Do I think that these are expert card pulls? No, I would want to do years of investigation before I truly develop my own opinion. And I believe every mystic should also coincide with the other mystics, like the hypnotherapists. Like, we need to like provide accountability. I would never want someone to build a belief off just my card pulls. Like, we need holistic viewpoints on this, and we need to be completely open. Yeah. A metaphor, exactly. A metaphor. Judas is definitely a metaphor, and there was definitely people like him, and if not even somebody like him. But all right, everyone. Well, I'm about zapped for tonight. We've been going for an hour and 20. If you're watching the replay, thank you so much. And if you don't agree, feel free to put it in the chat. I would still love to read your comments and respect what you have to say. And if you wanted to share more information, put it in the comments. I appreciate it so well. Fascinating history, Shauna says. Will we ever find out the real story? Can we ask the cards? I am actually drained. There's just so much energy coming in here, and I don't think that I can go into the real history right now. Will we ever find out the real story? I can ask for a time frame. I can ask, is there a time frame of weeks, days, years, millennial, where the real story at least comes to those who are awake and aware? Let's just get a quick time frame. But the energy is really heavy. Isn't that interesting? The star card, 17. Those of you who know, you know. 8. Okay, 8 of air. I'll give you some. So the star is definitely a year. Okay, that's a year energy. 8 would be possibly 8 years, but then we have the Ace of Earth, which is also a 1 year. Okay, a 1 year. So within the next year to 8 years, I'm getting. Within the next year, we might start seeing more and more, especially with the peace deal to Israel, but also Spirit's saying give it a good 8 years for the full truth to come out, especially to the public arena. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. So we are going to be doing on Sunday, check your email. We're going to be looking at med beds, medicine, the RFK Jr. campaigns, vaccine campaigns. We're going to be looking at the golden age of medicine and health. And maybe we can even ask some other questions. If you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat or send it to me through an email or just a comment in YouTube. I'll read your comments. So join me there on Sunday. If you would like to join this special live, it is for the members. Go ahead and find me the Global Shift, Violet Flame, www.violetflame.net, and you can sign up to my membership. It's $9 there. This we're going to be doing in a little bit more detail. All right. Sounds good. That will be great. A lot of people will piss their pants. Oh, yeah. Have a good one, y'all. Have a great week. See you next time.